What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today I am gonna have some fun. Today we're gonna be shooting the Colt Python. Now this is actually the new Colt Python. If you're unfamiliar with the Python, yes, it's Rick's gun from The Walking Dead, and yes, it is one of the finest revolvers ever made. This, however, is one of the new models re-released by Colt. I think it was in 2020 these started coming out, but just recently they started making good ones. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Colt Python was famous throughout most of history for being one of the finest and most well-crafted revolvers. On top of that, it looks pretty good too. This is the stainless model in 357. We have a 6-shot cylinder here, as you can see that. The Colt Python comes with the full lug on the bottom, vent rib on the top. The new ones actually have a replaceable front sight, which is very cool, so you can change it out to whatever you want. We have the fully bobbed hammer on the back there, which is really easy to thumb if you're into that kind of thing. The Colt release is really easy to use as well, and you can tell that even though these are no longer hand fit, the machining has gotten much better over the past few generations, and now it's almost of the same quality as the hand fit, personally to me, at least the way that I can feel up the gun. The trigger is a little bit different. They had to actually change the trigger on the Colt Pythons. I believe that's due to some states' drop safe issues, but I'm not really sure. The trigger is just as light as the previous ones, but you do feel just a hair more linkage in the double action, which is kind of interesting. As far as revolvers go, if you've ever like felt up the triggers, it's a little bit different than striker fired guns where you're just worried about pull, weight, reset, that kind of thing. Because you have a full long double action pull, you want it to be smooth all the way through. You don't want to feel any mechanical clicks or any points where things kind of get stuck. And in that case, the Colt Python is very, very good. Maybe not as good as the original, but certainly much better than the standard issue revolver that you're going to feel today. That being said, the single action trigger is absolutely fantastic, coming in at about, I'm going to weigh it on my trigger finger here, 3.5 pounds, maybe 4 pounds, which is a very good single action pull. Revolvers are notoriously accurate simply because of their design, but you got to remember here we have a long sight radius with that 6-inch barrel. We've got an 8 or 9-inch sight radius and a single action trigger, so we should be able to shoot this fairly well. Big heavy gun, you know, 42 inches or 42 ounces, sorry, and you only get 6 shots of 357, but I promise you 6 shots of 357 put in the right spot is going to do the job on almost anything. Now, if you're interested, we did actually shoot a first shots of this already at Mr. Guns, but the audio and the video wasn't up to my usual standards, so we're gonna put it on the second channel. If you want to watch that, feel free. But today I thought the sun looked so good and this stainless gun looks so mean in it, I'd go out and I'd Rick Grimes for you a little bit more today and make another video on the Python. I absolutely love this gun. I love the original. Hopefully this one performs as well as the original, or at least as well as it did in The Walking Dead. That being said, I do want to thank my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. I bought this gun with the Patreon dollars, so I appreciate that. If you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Just go to the link in the description below and sign up. If you don't want to do Patreon, that's fine. Feel free to go over to YouTube. Super thanks. We appreciate it either way. It buys ammo either way. If you want to support a local shelter in Ames, Iowa, we'd really appreciate that. There's a link for the donate page in the description. It's the YSS. It's local to us, and with it getting colder here in Iowa, those kids could use it more than ever, so please go down and donate to those kids. That being said, let's go shoot this bad boy. All right, so we're gonna run some 38 Special through it first. If you're unfamiliar, 357 Magnum revolvers can also take 38 Special, and that's really nice, especially for practical reasons like the ammo shortage of the last few years. You could get either ammunition if it's in the shelf and run them both. That's one of the things revolvers are awesome for, and you can obviously do that with a Python as well. So we're at 75 yards here. We'll just see if the sights are on, or if I'm on, one or the other. Looks like it. I think we shanked that one. Oh, we're out. Woo! I'm gonna have to brush up on my revolver skills a little bit here. Something therapeutic about reloading a revolver. I don't know. People always say it's slow and tedious, but I really like it. I like watching the cylinder turn, just therapeutic. Well, if I'm shooting double action, you know you're pretty safe at 75 yards. Because I didn't hit shit. All right, we'll switch back to single action here and see how that goes. Now, I did mention in the beginning that the double action on this is not nearly as good as the old ones, in my personal opinion. I think that's because they did change it to be a little bit more drop safe, and they did add some linkage in the trigger. I've noticed that between this and my Smith & Wesson Performance Center, I do like that double action pull much better than this one, although the single action is awesome on this. Well, now we're like 0 for 10. Okay. Man, I'm trying real hard, but I'm not getting anything. I don't even know where it's going because my camera person's looking at me and not the target, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, you're supposed to hit.
Right, that's my job. You're doing your job. I don't know, I'm holding where I was just holding earlier. Absolutely nothing. Wow. Well, I'd have to go closer. That's embarrassing.
We just can't escape the wind, can we?
Cannot. Oh.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna back up a little bit here, and we're gonna shoot some paper, just because I kind of want to see where it's going. Now, this Python does have some adjustable target sights on it, and maybe it's just off just a little bit. When Elliot and I were shooting it a while back, it did seem like it was going a little low. So we're gonna just single action. We're gonna go some head boxes at 15 yards here. You see how that goes. Okay, and I can already see they're way off to the left. The grips look beautiful, but I gotta tell you, the stainless on the back has no texture at all. The front has no texture at all. And the sides barely have any texture. So I think what's happening is it's kind of sliding around in my hand a little bit. And as you can see, wow, that group is awful. That's really bad. That's arguably one of the worst groups I've ever shot at 15 yards. And if you're familiar with the channel, I can usually shoot relatively good, and that is just absolutely abysmal. No wonder we weren't hitting at 75 yards. I can throw rocks better than that. All right, so we're at about 6 yards now, and there's a hole in the bottom of the target. It's the only one not in the head box, as you can see right there. I'm gonna aim at that hole and just see where we're going here. Get a smaller aiming point. Aim small, miss small. Okay, that's not bad. Maybe it's just me. Well, that's way low left trigger control, but I don't know how it could be on a single action. Okay, let's take a look at that. Now, I was aiming at this hole right here, and I went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this is probably trigger control, The trigger control mixed with grip, right? So if you're shooting a gun, you're right-handed. Traditionally, if you pull, you're gonna be pulling the gun off to the left or low and left, right? Or even just low. Sometimes it's called snatching the trigger. A lot of times, your strong hand has to be a little bit loose to operate the trigger well. You don't want it gripping so hard you're shaking. So that's the job of the left hand. The problem with the revolver a lot of times, especially with a slick revolver that doesn't have a large enough grip, let's say, I don't have a lot of room here to put my support hand in. On top of that, if you're a semi-automatic shooter, you want to roll your thumbs down like that and grip like this, which is more of a unique grip. And I haven't shot revolvers in a while, so I think what's happening is I'm pulling the heavier trigger. I'm starting to just pull it a little bit left every time. I need to get more grip on the gun and lock it down, and that'll help my trigger finger suck less. All right, now we're gonna run some double action up close, about 10 yards away, the mini IPSC there and then a couple over there. We'll just do 2, 2, 2, and then maybe do a little reload and then probably just shoot and plink around a little bit. What a surprise, it works well up close. That's kind of what you need it to do anyway. You need it to be able to hit a man-sized target every single time at 10 yards. It's probably the longest you're ever going to engage in a self-defense scenario. If you're in a home defense scenario, 10 yards is a long way, unless you got a real big house. Now, one of the interesting things I've noticed about the Python is that it has a very, very smooth lockup and a very, very smooth rotation and stuff like that. But once it does start to get dirty, which is classic of all revolvers, it starts to become really finicky and a little bit hard to operate. Now, the Python isn't subjected to so many timing issues like I've had on some of my Ruger and Smith & Wessons actually so far. And it's a very shootable, low recoil gun. A lot of times when you're running a revolver, especially if you're a semi-automatic guy, what you'll do is you have a tendency to pull the trigger, ride the reset back, and pull the trigger. Now, if you get that just right, it's really fast, but if you don't, you're subjected to a lot of timing issues, and the Colt seems to just be easier to override that, because since it does have a heavier trigger than the old one, it does want to pop your finger out a little bit better. So what isn't as good as far as pure accuracy actually seems to be a little bit better in the rapid fire category. So it just depends on what you're into. Now, in all fairness, when you're buying a Colt Python, you're probably not buying a gun that you're gonna use for self-defense, home defense, concealed carry, that kind of thing. You're probably buying a gun because it looked cool in the movies, or you just wanna hang it on your wall, and in which case, works for both. Now, if you got to short load these guns, keep in mind that the cylinder actually rotates a different way. And we keep referencing Rick from The Walking Dead, and I've always kind of wanted to try this, so I'm actually going to shoot like him right here and just see if I can aim anything, or see if I can hit anything. Rick has a tendency to aim way up over the target and kind of intuitively shoot down at it. Oh! Well, maybe it works better than I think. I did not expect that. Okay, Rick, maybe you're onto something here. No way! If you're unfamiliar, Andrew Lincoln, the guy that plays Rick, is from Britain, so I doubt he's even held a freaking gun before he actually shot the Walking Dead, and he kind of held it just because it looked cool, but I gotta tell you, if it fucking works, it works. Oh, I missed one. I don't want to miss the last one. That's how you actually shoot, Rick. All right, so first and or second impressions of the Colt Python in 357 Magnum is that it's a phenomenally beautiful gun. It's well made. I think that a lot of the craftsmanship that people are talking about, that used to be the hand fit kind of thing, I think is made up in a lot of ways by the better CNC machines that we have today. That being said, is it still nice to have them hand fit? Absolutely. But the good news about the CNC machined new ones is that they do come out at a much lower price, anywhere from $1,300 to $1,500 for one of these, as opposed to $2,000 or $3,000. One of the things that I would look at when you're looking at one of these, if you're looking at a new one, is you want to make sure it has the L on the inside of the frame here, and that is the ones that were actually fixed, the ones that came out in 2020. I actually did shoot one at SHOT Show 2020, and the reason why you haven't seen one until now is because those guns had a lot of primer, light primer strikes, and a lot of cylinder issues, a lot of timing issues, and they just weren't made nearly as well. And it took Colt about 2 years to actually get a gun right that they already make. And that's fairly classic for Colt. Colt makes a lot of the classics, but their new guns are a little the Colt Python seems to be doing really well. Do I wish it had a slightly better double action trigger? Yes, I do. Did I have some accuracy issues at the beginning? Yes, I did, but I honestly believe that was shooter related. I haven't shot a revolver in a while, and this is actually the second time I've shot a gun in 2 weeks, because the wife and I were on vacation, and it feels good to get back into it, and I wanted to get back into it with one of the classics. Hopefully I did it justice later in the video, but the reloading, loading portion of it's awesome. The release and the cylinder is very, very smooth. The hammer is very, very smooth. The single action trigger is very, very smooth. The double action probably could be a little better. I wish it had more texture in the grip for performance, but as far as a look standpoint, the wood grips with the Colt inlay look amazing. And they're gonna stay on it because that's why I bought this gun, to look amazing and shoot pretty good. The vent rib gives it the classic look. The full lug gives it the weight to help it reduce recoil. And if you had one of these loaded up with 6 rounds of 357 Magnum, even though it looks like a beast, trust me, for a home defense scenario, it'd probably do extremely well. Overall, revolvers have been doing their damn thing for a long time, and they're gonna keep doing the damn thing, and the Colt's one of the best, and honestly, for $1,500, I think this is a pretty good deal, just because of the heritage and the classic look and feel, and the overall track record of the Colt Python. If you want to buy it because it's in The Walking Dead, if you want to buy it because it's one of the best revolvers ever made, if you just want to buy it because it's shiny, I definitely would recommend it either way. I'm a big fan of it. I'm going to keep it forever, and I'm going to continue to shoot it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Did you say whipping the cylinder shut?
It could be dirty. Maybe later we'll whip the cylinder.
Okay.
All right. I'm excited. I'm just going to shoot this. No intro.
It's like such a short burst of fun.
Yeah, I don't know why I decided to catch the brass, even though I didn't pick up any of my brass from the previous video we just filmed. I was like, I'll be nice with this one. It is, honestly though, like people say it's a short burst of fun, but reloading a revolver is kind of fun too.
Do people say that or just me?
Well, some people do.
I just made that up.
I'm gonna shoot it like Rick Grimes, I think.
Okay.
I won't aim at the floor though. I think I could have got some zombies.
You probably could have.
Certainly more than Rick. Learn how to shoot, bud.
Yeah, right. They don't move that fast. They're also decomposing.
Right. How fucking hard could they be to kill, in all fairness?
Honestly.
Walking at you, it's like a rotting sack of meat. Just push it over.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't get us started.
They're not out there bench pressing and deadlifting and stuff. They can't run that fast. I mean, out of all the monsters to be killed by, let's be clear, like the Walking Dead zombies, pretty easy. You ever seen 28 Days Later? I wouldn't want to fuck with those zombies.
Shoot like they're coming at you.
Well, now I'm dead, because I only had 6 rounds.